Back in the morning wake up as we get closer to the 7 a.m. hour, and a lot of people check into work at that time, especially now with flex time out there. If that's you, you better get a move on. And if you don't get a move on, you better have a good excuse. What is a good excuse these days for being late to work? And how have those excuses changed? And are they more accepted than they used to be? Let's visit with workplace culture expert Shontaye Hawkins and find out. Good morning, Shontaye.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay. And I did report to work on time, although I was gone yesterday for a legitimate sick day, and I'm struggling through. Don't want to make my coworkers sick, but I am here. Broadcasting, as you know, Shontaye, generally appoints you a time, and you better toe the mark and be there. It's just the way it goes. But it doesn't seem to be that way with everybody. Why is it we have such a hard time getting to work on time?
Well, I mean, hey, there's lots of reasons, and there's some that are really, really, like you said, bizarre, quite bizarre. I mean, the typical things, traffic, weather, I overslept, right? I mean, we all know those. We get those and understand them. But this is a couple that I'll share with you that I think are really, really interesting and funny. More than anything, is I thought of quitting today.
Really? Oh, well. Let me help you make up your mind.
Right. Let me help you get that.
Yeah. Let me clarify that for you. Yeah. Let me clarify that for you.
Yeah. You don't have to, wonder if you should come or not and just show up late. So that's what that was the reason I started. I started to quit today. Thought of quitting today, but decided not to. So I came in late.
Oh boy. Okay. So that's just not. Yeah, it's not good.
Very smart.
Yeah, no, not real smart. We'll put that into the bizarre category. Go ahead.
Another one is I was confused by spring forward and fall back.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. It's even though that happens from a Saturday to a Sunday, not a Sunday to a Monday. Okay, so you not only were confused, but for 24 hours you couldn't figure it out. I'm not buying that one either, but I mean, that whacks us out. Body-wise, that does whack us out a bit. And there's proof of that, but it's a lousy excuse for being late to work.
Yes. I mean, there's tons of, obviously things happen, right? Each and every day. You decide you're going to get there. Today I'm really going to get up 45 minutes ahead of time, 1 hour, leave home at this time. And something happens that you can't avoid. It's just out of your control. There's an accident ahead of you. We know those things, those happen. But what I say is no matter what the situation is, we have so much technology at our fingertips these days. Just communicate what's going on with your boss. Don't wait until you get there. Unless you really, like one excuse I heard, which wasn't in the survey, was I had to get bailed out of jail. So,
yeah, well, that'll do it. Yeah, I had to come get someone to throw my bail. Couldn't get a hold of my parents. I had to call my boyfriend. Okay.
I couldn't call you. I mean, so I had to get bailed out first.
Yeah, Shontaye, how has this changed over there? Because when I got in the workforce, a part-time job, I mean, I saw people get fired for this. I mean, if they were late once, they got a warning. The second time, they just got fired. And it was hard to get a job as a teenager then, hard to get a job when you were 20, 21 of any kind. Now it seems like a lot of those jobs are open. It's harder to get that real career job maybe for some. But, I mean, you start that habit early, it's hard to break out of, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. And the thing is employers say 41% of them say they have fired someone for being late. And, we're in this culture and environment now where 67% of employees, 66% of employers believe the 9-to-5 model is antiquated. And the thing is that we take a lot of our work home. Yeah. We work on the weekends with our tablets and laptops and smartphones, et cetera. We leave at 5 or 6 o'clock, but we're still working well beyond that point in time. And so a lot of employees, what they believe is, you know what, if I show up late, it's okay because I'm going to make that time up. Maybe they worked over the weekend and they believe, and in their mind, they're thinking, well, I'm making that time up.
Right.
I got some time in the bank because I worked 8 hours over the weekend. But if you haven't communicated that to your boss, that look.
So maybe that's the story there. You just need to have a good communication of what's expected of you. And then from the boss's standpoint, a realization that if I am throwing stuff on their plate after hours, it's really hard for me to say, oh, yeah, and you need to be here at exactly this minute. Because
Exactly.
I'm expecting you to do more than the workload, and maybe that's not fair. Maybe it's also not equitable with others at your same. Because if you do it with one, then you got to have that same mindset with others, or at least be very clear with everyone. 'Cause you're going to build up resentments.
Yes, I mean, when I was in corporate America, and I remember the first job was with Goldman Sachs, and there was a time of the year where we just knew across the board you were expected to work late hours or longer hours and weekends because we were working on year-end projects. We were also, after the end of the year, through the first part of the first quarter or so, we were working on annual reports and getting all of our reporting together. So we worked a lot of hours, but we also knew that once we got over that hump, everything went back to, normal, and you could take off Fridays. I mean, it just was...
Sure.
It was a time everyone knew across the board that's how it was, and everyone was there when they needed to be. And so it is just really important for an employer to communicate the expectation, because what you do for one, you're going to probably end up having to do for everyone.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And if you have that open, I remember when I was sports director at a TV station, I told my staff there's going to be times leading into football season or big games we're going to be just really cranking it. We're going to be there practically 24/7. And then the following week, I don't want you to even, think twice about, look, I'm going to expect to not see you here or there. You need to get, so you don't have to quote unquote take a mental health day and call it something else. You can just you can be gone. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because I want you to come back fresh and ready to go again.
Yes, exactly. Because this is going to happen again. We're going to do this one.
Yeah, we're going to do it some more. Exactly. No, I think that makes perfect sense, but it's that lack of communication that can get in the way. Is it still really a fireable offense to you? I mean, is it something where what constitutes chronically late for work? Is it once a week? Is it once a month? What's chronically late?
I think when I think about chronically late, first of all, an employer has to make sure they have identified in their policies and procedures what the expectations are. And I know that, you can go look at policies and procedures from any company right now, and it's probably going to say excessive tardiness is they can fire you for that offense, right? But what happens is that's not always taken care of. It's not always the way it works. And so what I consider excessive is someone missing important meetings and not letting us know. And especially meetings over and over again. So we have a monthly meeting every month on the first Tuesday of every month at 9:30. You can never get here in time for that meeting.
Right.
You're late to client meetings and appointments, and it makes the company look bad. So I believe that's when it becomes a fireable offense. And I also just think that as long as you don't want to all of a sudden let someone go and you haven't been at least letting them know, you know what, you need to get here at 8. You need to get here at 8. We really need you here at 8.
Shontaye, if you want to know, here's what I'm going to tell our listeners right now. If you want a foolproof excuse that will get you off the hook for being late, you simply tell your boss, I would have been in here on time, but I was listening to Dave and Shontaye talk about how to improve the workplace, and I couldn't break away from that segment because I know that it's going to help us here where I work. You are off the hook every time.
Right. And they're going to say, well, you probably need to call Dave and Shontaye and see if they have.
And then you're going to get, boop, there's going to be no answer. There's Shontaye Hawkins, workplace culture expert. Some of the worst excuses for being late and how that applies here in 2016. Always good to talk to you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, more ahead. Hope you get to work on time. Go try that for an excuse, though. Let me know how that works. Don't do it. No, I'm telling you, don't do it. I'm just doing it tongue in cheek. This is 1320 WILS.